After shocking Bachelor Nation with their reunion, sources say Clare and Dale are ruling out a long-term future together. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We have the latest on Clare and Dale, but before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Avery Grooms and Gianna Gravelisi. You guys, the Clare and Dale saga continues. I have to say, I was totally surprised when we saw them, reunite in Florida after they split so publicly. It seemed like it was a little messy. They've had a really complicated journey. Avery, what are your thoughts on Clare and Dale at this point?
At this point, I don't even know anymore. I feel like it's been such a crazy journey. And I feel like all these complications came from it just being so rushed. Like the relationship was rushed, the engagement was rushed, and then the breakup was kind of rushed. And then I feel like they needed to come together and have this moment for closure, for answers, for so many reasons. And they went through all this trouble, not only just with themselves, but the whole public is watching them very closely. So I don't know. It was just very messy and like painful to watch because at the beginning, like I wanted them to do well, but I was also very annoyed with Claire. But at the end of the day, I feel like we kind of all predicted they wouldn't make it, as bad as it sounds.
Everything that you just said, Avery, I think about it as dating in my own personal life. We all go through that honeymoon phase where we think everything within the first maybe 3 months is just butterflies and sunshine and rainbows. But they realistically got engaged after 12 days, was it? If I'm not mistaken. That is nothing. Imagine knowing someone for just a little bit over a week and getting engaged right off the bat. Like, is this engaged at first sight? I can't. Like, I cannot do this. So, their breakup and how messy it was definitely expected. So, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, I mean, we have all been saying this for a long time. Ultimately, of course, we all want anyone in Bachelor Nation to find love, to be happy. That's the goal. But Clare and Dale have been such a whirlwind that it's like truly been hard to keep up. Obviously, that reunion in Florida led many fans to speculate that they may be getting back together, even though it was just about, I think, a month exactly after they even announced in the first place that they were broken up. So, like I said, whirlwind, things are happening very, very quickly. Now, sources are telling E! News that they have no long-term plans. So, this source said, quote, "At this point in time, Clare and Dale aren't getting back together. They want to be friends and do want to see each other, but don't think they have a long-term future together. Claire is trying to move on, but she is still in contact with Dale." So let's just unpack this because in Florida, those photos of them, the Snapchat stories, it certainly looked like they were more of a couple than platonic friends, right? I mean, we see them holding hands. We saw the photos of Claire like smacking Dale's butt on the beach, right? Like it was very flirty. And again, this is just what we're seeing. We weren't there with them. We weren't on the beach. We don't know what they discussed, but from the outside looking in, are they just friends? I mean, what did you guys make of that reunion in Florida? Did it seem totally platonic to you, Avery?
Absolutely not. I mean, there were photos, like you said, of them holding hands, smacking Dale's butt. That just doesn't seem like just friends to me. And I don't understand how they could just be friends after everything they've gone through. At this point, I'm making up like theories about them in my head because I don't know what's right or wrong anymore. But I just feel like Dale kind of got a bad name after everything that went down in the breakup and how he approached the breakup on Instagram, that he kind of wanted to like clear his name in terms of like PR. So I feel like he got together with Claire to kind of just like mend his reputation and their relationship. But at the end of the day, I feel like Claire still has the stronger feelings for him and he doesn't. Just for some reason, to me, everything Dale does is like a PR stunt. I could be reading him totally wrong, but like That's my theory.
I mean, again, they were on vacation. They weren't necessarily in a reality and realistic like circumstance to be having a tough conversation to make their relationship move forward. They were having fun. They were flirting, you know. Again, it makes me think back. We've all gone back to that one ex, and you know you shouldn't, but you do. And maybe they were there just to have fun, just to clear the air, but I don't think it was a good idea to then go ahead and break up after that vacation. I mean, it's also the fact that they, like you said, Avery, they do have a relationship. I mean, they were engaged, they were going to get married. Clearly, there was some sort of feeling there that was more toward love. But when you get to the real life and real world, and we think that she was more of a homebody and he was more of a partier, like you face those challenges. And maybe they would have learned that if they had stayed together a little longer and finished out the season and actually got to the fantasy suites where we know that those difficult conversations and that really intimate moment happens. So I'm wondering if they stayed a little bit longer, things may have been different. But they're clearly more than just friends, but it just can't work for them right now.
Yeah, I'm totally with both of you. To me, looking at the Florida of it all, it felt like two people who probably weren't actually ready to step into that friends phase. Maybe even kidding themselves a little bit, thinking, no, 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 like we want to mend fences. We don't want to leave things on a bad note. Like, obviously, everything they did was done very publicly. Like, we're going to show the world we're on good terms. Like, we can still be friends. We can still have fun together. And like you guys mentioned, it seems as though Claire maybe still has some more feelings for Dale than Dale does for her. So to me, if I was Claire's girlfriend, I would be like, be careful. This feels like dangerous waters. You don't want to, get your heart broken again. Let's talk about what sources shared. Some insight that was reported at the time of that reunion in Florida, like how they got there, why they took the trip in the first place. At the time, a source explained Dale had regret over everything that had happened between him and Claire and has been reaching out. She finally caved and decided to answer his calls and talk it out. She's been trying to move on, but it's very hard. She wanted to see him in person, so she flew to Florida to be with him. So Avery, that theory that you were kind of coming up with there, I honestly feel like it really tracks. Hearing now that they don't have any long-term plans, right? Florida completely aside, no matter what happened there, they don't intend to move forward as a couple. And looking back at these source quotes about how that Florida reunion was seemingly to just pretty much work on some issues, maybe they found peace and closure. Is that what we're sort of supposed to be taking through all of this? They spent some more time together. They got on a better page. But the book is closed? I mean, what do you think, Gianna?
I definitely think they got some peace and closure, and maybe they had answered some questions that they were asking each other in their own heads. I think it was probably a much needed trip. And then we are talking about the term, they don't have a long term plan. So that doesn't mean that the book is entirely closed. Maybe it's one of those things where it's right person, wrong time. Maybe they're going to work on their future in the future, and they're just working things out. But for now, that they're just not meant to be together, and maybe they both have a little more growing to do as people before they can move forward and become a couple.
I completely agree with you, Gianna. I feel like this was really necessary for them just because they're hearing so much throughout the media and not talking to each other directly, especially after the breakup, that at the end of the day, they were in a relationship and probably have so much they do need to discuss face to face and have like unanswered questions. So I think that's why they took this time away. But I don't know, just knowing Claire, I feel like there still has to be more feelings involved. And I feel like this may have done good, but also, maybe she started to like him more again, or maybe she still thinks there's hope. And maybe he saw this as like an end situation. So I don't know. The fact that they said they don't know what their long-term relationship's going to be like, that means they could potentially have one, but also kind of leaning towards no. But we'll see. You never know with these two.
Yeah, that's such a good point. We really don't ever know. And I know when news broke of their split, we talked a lot about the fact that, Obviously, there's a lot of source quotes in Bachelor Nation, but there's something to be said about when the story's pretty consistent across the board. You can interpret, there's got to be some truth to it, right? And the huge topic of discussion was how different the pages of life they were on, right? Claire is a homebody. She wants to be in Sacramento. She wants to settle down, have a family, all that jazz. Dale, New York City guy, wants to party, doesn't want to give up that lifestyle. And assuming that none of that has changed, it feels like there's no real way that at this stage of the game they could have a stronger foundation for moving forward in a very serious, relationshipy kind of way, right? If you can't solve those issues, how do you get back to that super serious place of being engaged and committing your lives to each other, right? I mean, it just doesn't work out.
You're so right. It doesn't work out that way. And I feel like now they've really gotten to know each other outside of that bubble in actual reality. And they're realizing they are totally two different people that may not work together. Like you said, the contrast with Claire being a homebody, he's more of a partier. Just not even just that, there's a lot of things that don't line up. And I think she kind of has a hard time of like letting that go. And, it's a relationship. It's hard on both sides to let something go. But I think that is what's best for them because they've tried to work it out now multiple times. And maybe it's the timing of it, but it's also the reality of it. Once they got out into reality, it just wasn't working.
I totally agree. And I also think of their relationship as a whole. Claire was really kind of obsessed with Dale right off the bat. And I'm wondering if maybe behind the scenes there was a sort of pressure for Dale to propose to her in a way. Maybe he wasn't ready, but he was like, lights are on, cameras on, like, I need to do this right now. And maybe it could work. Like, we don't know where his head was at, but we know that she had really strong feelings for him. So I definitely don't think they've been on the same page since day one. And it's good that they're not together anymore so that they can work through these problems before actually marrying each other and then having to deal with it later on. So I'm hoping that maybe they figure it out. They might not, but I think that this all works out for the better for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Gianna, you mentioned pressure. Since they got together, left the show, broke up, reunited, all eyes are on them, right? I think a lot of people who aren't even like truly diehard Bachelor fans caught wind of this crazy whirlwind season and how fast these two came together. And, let's just put it how it is. A lot of people weren't rooting for them to succeed because of the chaos, because of the whirlwind, because the internet is a scary place, right? Claire's talked a lot about the pressure and the criticism and how intense it can be and the sort of toll it takes. So, as they take these next steps, if there's ever going to be a way to create a solid foundation or give them a fair chance, I feel like it really needs to happen behind the scenes, right? How can you navigate like maybe starting something up again if at the same time everyone in the world is dissecting your Instagram stories to figure out if you're together, right? If they're going to have a fair shot, I think we'll have to kind of not hear from them for a while and then be shocked when they announce, like, oh, by the way, we're back together. We're a couple. I mean, what's your take, Gianna?
You're so right, Fiona. I think that this is the case with any star, whether it's, a musician or a TV star, movie star. It's hard being in the limelight and trying to live your actual life. We watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, but although it's reality, is it really reality? We don't know what producers are doing behind closed doors. We don't really know what's going on for sure and what's authentic. So when they kind of come out of that and try to live their own lives, now they have all of this backlash, like you said, on social media, and they are just being constantly like scrutinized for every little move that they make. And I'm sure that really added to the deterioration of their relationship as well. I mean, I personally can't imagine. I get one little comment on my TikTok and I'm like sad for a week. So I can't imagine having thousands upon thousands of people analyzing my personal relationship. So I completely agree with you. I think that it's definitely a smart move for them to kind of do things off camera, off social media, and by themselves to figure it out. Avery, what's your take on that?
You guys said it all. You're so right. I feel like they do need this time in private. And that's why I'm kind of surprised how public this reunion even was, because I feel like If it was to benefit them to the fullest, they should have kept that more private. But I don't know, I feel like it makes it more messy, and I'm sure they tried to keep it as private as possible, but, everyone's always watching for them. Eyes are on them at all times. So, like you said, Gianna, it's super hard to even just live. But I don't know. We'll have to see if they are hanging out even more. I hope it's in private because they just need privacy and one on one time with themselves and each other to really figure this out. Because at the end of the day, everyone is just all over social media saying this, and that. And I feel like they were listening to it, which it's hard not to at a point, but I feel like that was half of the issue with the relationship. So if they're going to make it work, hopefully it's just them two.
Yes, absolutely. I think we are all going to be along for this journey for as long as it's going on. I want Claire to be happy. Whether or not that's with Dale, you guys, only time is going to tell. At this point, we want to know your thoughts. Are you rooting for Claire and Dale to get back together? Do you think it makes more sense for them to, go out in the world and find their person? Let us know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future Bachelor updates. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring. I was joined by the wonderful Avery Grooms and Gianna Grabalisi. If you want to come say hi, our social handles are on the screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.